On October 4th, the West Bloomfield Fire Department held their annual open house at Fire Station Number 1. The open house kicks off National Fire Prevention Week by bringing the public together to teach our youth about fire safety. Civic Center TV, in cooperation with the West Bloomfield School District, was there to kick off the event with a live broadcast on 89.3 WBLD, the new Lakes FM. We spoke with community leaders about safety education and how the various facets of the township work in collaboration.
My name is George Moore. I'm joined by my host, co-host Penny Rubin. We are both from Civic Center TV, and we'll be out here for the duration of the open house, and it's scheduled to go till 3 p.m. And we'll be talking to, of course, as we have already, to West Bloomfield officials. We are now joined again by West Bloomfield Fire Department Chief Gregory Flynn. And Gregory, what do we have coming up that you can tell us about?
George, Penny, good to be back with you. Boy, the crowd is just alive today, aren't they? There's
full house here.
We do have a full house. There's lots going on. So we just wrapped up a demonstration on vehicle extrication that took place in the north lot there, and they really showed, it's, I think one of the things the fire department's known for, the jaws of life.
Yeah.
Sure, right. And so it's nice for people to see those in action and just how that equipment has changed over decades. Much more lightweight, easier to carry around, but also more maneuverable in these smaller cars and all the different things that we're faced with new technology inside a vehicle. So that just wrapped up. Behind us, on the tower that we're broadcasting from, they're showing some high-angle rescue, rope rescue, technical rescue is what we put that in, the category we put that in. And so they're going over that right now. These are all things that take place in the community that your fire department, the West Bloomfield Fire Department, is prepared to respond to. Mm-hmm. And it's these what we call special teams that we lean on. Firefighters that have taken on specialized training, whether it's hazardous materials, technical rescue, confined space rescue, our boat rescue. These are all things that this community is well protected against because of their fire department and their partners in the police department.
What about equipment? And you touched on that earlier. My question would be is, how high-tech do you feel you guys are as far as doing your job? As far as, your equipment, things that you can use while doing your job, and safety.
Well, I often look over at my colleague Chief Patton, and I think we're pretty high tech because Chief Patton has a flip phone and I have an iPhone. So I'm thinking that might make us a little more high tech.
Don't disparage the flip phone. They're wonderful. I have one.
But when you look at the equipment that we carry on, say for example, our ambulances. We have 12-lead EKG technology. Not that it's new. I mean, this is a standard, but it's that our equipment is refreshed. It is up to date. It has. We have an electronic patient care record where that information is merged electronically and electronically stapled together. We're moving forward away from paper, actually having records that we now can read 5, 6, 7 years from now because they're not on triplicate copies of did you press hard enough with your ballpoint pen? So, well, I think some people look at that and go, well, that's not a huge technology increase. But it is. It's a big for government. It's not like we're a private industry that just solely can move forward. I think we're responsible with the taxpayer dollars that we're entrusted to spend very wisely. And we're meeting the needs where they are. And we're getting new alert technology incorporating the smartphone into the response plan. So I get the data would come in on the smartphone. It links to Google Maps, and we can route to the call. So there's many things coming down the line. But, when it comes down to it, there's not too many different things that have changed with how to put a fire out. Mm-hmm. You still need to put water on it. Now we have cameras that help us narrow down where the fire is based on thermal imaging and things like that.
Right.
And the cost of that technology has dropped. So now it's more accessible throughout the department on every truck as compared to a decade ago where we had one of those things. Right. So that's the big thing that we see is just the the diversity of the technology and the availability of it across the board. So.
Yep. I was wondering if you could actually touch on, with all the construction going on at 14 and Orchard Lake, what roundabouts do...
There's construction at 14 and Orchard Lake.
Yeah, I know. It's a little
this just in, huh?
Yeah, we didn't know that.
But about how roundabouts actually affect the number of calls and stuff that you get at the fire department.
So that's a great question, Penny. So when the first roundabouts went in along the Maple Corridor, we did a study, just a retrospective study based on call data, and we looked at the number of vehicle collisions, injury accidents that we had, because keep in mind, the fire department doesn't go on all the accidents. The police department responds to all motor vehicle accidents. We respond to injury accidents. Mm-hmm. And when we started running the data post-roundabouts, we saw dramatic, remarkable drops. I think if the numbers were close to, let's say, 175 accidents at a Maple and Farmington, we saw that number drop to less than 5.
Oh, wow.
Injury accidents. Again, I can't stress to you enough. I'm not saying people don't bump into each other in roundabouts, but what I can tell you is they are safer. They keep our community safer, and I think as we've all learned to navigate them a little bit easier, now it's quicker to move through. I remember trying to get from Fire Station 2 down there on Maple near Halstead over to Fire Station 5, and it could take you 15 or 20 minutes. You can move down the Maple corridor much easier now. Traffic flows.
Yeah,
again, we've all done a good job of learning how to navigate those. But Penny, back to your question, it's made our community safer. I'd be interested to see what Chief Patton says to that if you ask him that, have the opportunity to ask him that same question. But I got to believe it's close to the same response.
Oh, I would imagine so, and it's important to remind the community that the roundabouts do actually do good within our traffic system, because sometimes it can be a little, hard to deal with the construction and getting used to going through roundabouts again.
Now, I do want to assure you that when big projects like that happen, all the department heads in the township come together and we discuss response plans, specifically, police, fire, water, and sewer. We get together and make sure that we have a good plan in place, because sometimes that does alter our response plan. If I have a station on one side of the construction, it might be quicker for me to send a station a little further away, but because they don't have to navigate the construction, their response time is better. But that's our job at FD. We constantly are assessing the response plan based on construction, based on weather, based on flooding on any given roadway, and our shift captains alter that throughout the shift. That's one of their roles here.
We are speaking with Fire Chief Gregory Flynn from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, who's joining us here at the annual West Bloomfield Fire Department Open House as we broadcast live on WBLD 89.3, the all-new Lakes FM. I'm George Moore here with Penny Rubin. And, Chief, I got a question for you. And while you were sitting here doing a great job of interacting with the community on the radio and telling us about how you guys operate, what if a situation, someone out there is listening, and they want to join you, what would be the qualifications basically for people to become a firefighter or first responder, particularly a firefighter? What do you look for?
Well, I wish I would have asked you to ask me that question, George. That's fabulous. One of the things that we're struggling with in this industry, in public safety, is finding qualified applicants. I think post 9/11 there was a surge, and the fire academies were full, the police academies were full, the people lining up to put in for public service was long.
Right.
Those days have waned a bit, and we're finding that it's getting more and more difficult to find people that can meet all of the qualifications for what it takes. And specifically to your question, to be a firefighter here in West Bloomfield, you're not just a firefighter. You're a firefighter paramedic. And a majority of what we do here in West Bloomfield, as far as calls for service, because we want to be the solution for whatever it is the resident has a problem for as far as their emergency goes. When they don't know who to call when something scary is going on, they call 911. That's going to ring right into our dispatch center over at the police department, and they're going to help send the right resource to that need. And so finding people that are ready to answer that call, answer that need is challenging at times. So they need to be a firefighter, and they'll go through, like we've mentioned, the cadets that are here today. They're in that fire academy.
Right.
Okay, so I forget from when I went through how many weeks it is, but I think it's a 7 or 8 week program that they go through. And then in order to apply here in West Bloomfield, you do have to be a state licensed paramedic. Now, to be a paramedic, that can be a 2-year commitment to get through all the education. There are some shorter programs, but the content's not easy. So those shorter academy-style paramedic programs aren't successful for everybody. But they would need both of those, in addition to a good, clean driving record and all those typical government-type hiring best practices. And then you can join one of the greatest professions there is out there, and that's being a firefighter, a public servant, someone that people can call upon, and they just open the door and they let you in because they know you're there to help. And it's a very heavy calling, a very heavy responsibility that these individuals take on. And we're excited to have them. Some of our newest members of our fire department are here today, and they're eager to get out and see all this for the first time, and we're excited to have them. And I expect that we'll be doing the same thing next year, looking for some more applicants. As some of our senior firefighters retire, that's going to open up opportunity for others to come and serve.
I see some tall guys here.
We try to grow them a little bigger.
Yeah. Now, that leads me to this question. Height and weight requirements, just in general. Do you have those?
Nope. They really, the requirements that I hit are just that. Now, part of the requirement with application is something, some testing that they have to take, and that's a physical agility and written exam.
Yeah.
That's done by a third party outside of the township. But that would run them through the rigors of the physical needs to be a firefighter, hoisting a ladder, dragging some hose.
Very physical job. Yeah.
It is. It is, and it's something that you've got to maintain that all the way through. It's a dangerous job. And, we often will say, it's not an older person's job in the sense that the dangers that come with it, It's just there's a lot of carrying a wet, heavy hose and ladders and that. You can't do it forever.
Right.
And so that's why, my job, my administration job, and every firefighter in West Bloomfield's job is to make sure everyone goes home safe. We're here to protect the citizens, absolutely, but protecting one another is a priority as well, that we all go home to our families and loved ones, just like the families and loved ones that we protect here in the community.
And it all works out. It all comes together. You guys do an excellent job. We are speaking with Gregory Flynn, Fire Chief for West Bloomfield Fire Department. We are at their open house, the annual Fire Department open house on Orchard Lake Road here at Fire Station number 1. And it's a great event.
It is. And George, I just saw my mom. She's come to every one of these things since I started here in West Bloomfield. So I better go say hello to her, and I'll come back and see you guys in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be right here.
Okay, thanks so much.
Residents came out in large numbers to learn about fire prevention and to support its local heroes. To see more of our live broadcast of the West Bloomfield Fire Department Open House on 89.3 WBLD, visit our website at civiccentertv.com/2015 WBFD Open House.